This is the video you've been waiting for. You will witness a shocking turn of events in the mysterious case surrounding the sudden passing of Yu Menglong. It's 1 week now, the entire entertainment world has been gripped by speculation, hidden footage, whispers in late-night forums, and unanswered questions. But now, in a move that has stunned fans and industry insiders alike, 2 suspects have been officially arrested. What led to their capture? What evidence was uncovered? And what secrets are still lurking in the shadows, waiting to come to light? Stick with me until the very end, because the details I'm about to reveal will leave you breathless. The announcement came just after midnight. A hushed press conference, dim lights reflecting off the cameras of restless journalists, and a spokesperson whose voice carried both urgency and gravity. The moment the words 2 suspects officially arrested echoed across the room, the atmosphere shifted. Gasps filled the air, phones lit up instantly, and messages exploded across Weibo and other platforms. The entire digital world went into overdrive, with Yu Menglong's name once again climbing the trending charts in record time. Behind the scenes, investigators had been working silently for weeks. What the public didn't know until tonight was that surveillance footage had surfaced, grainy, late-night clips showing 2 figures entering the building where Yu Menglong was last seen. Their movements were calculated, their presence too deliberate to be ignored. 4 days, officials tried to verify their identities, tracing every step they took that evening. And now, the evidence has finally culminated in their arrest. But here's where it gets mind-blowing. These weren't just random strangers. According to insiders close to the investigation, the 2 suspects had deep ties to the entertainment industry. Not direct stars, but individuals who hovered on the periphery, fixers, handlers, and shadowy figures who often operated behind the curtain. Their connection to Yu Menglong wasn't accidental, and it wasn't casual. There are whispers that these suspects had been seen in the same circles before, lurking at events, hovering at afterparties, and occasionally surfacing in the background of paparazzi shots. Fans who once ignored their presence are now revisiting old photos, zooming in, asking themselves how no one noticed earlier. The night of Yu Menglong's passing has already been described as tragic, mysterious, and riddled with unanswered questions. But with the suspects now in custody, new layers are peeling back. One eyewitness, who had remained silent until this week, finally stepped forward. Their testimony painted a chilling picture. They described hearing raised voices in the hallway, the sound of something falling hard against the floor, followed by silence so heavy it pressed against the walls. That silence was broken minutes later by hurried footsteps that matched the suspect's timeline. When the press reported this revelation, fans flooded social media with shock, grief, and anger. Hashtags like #JusticeForYuMenglong and #TruthMustBeRevealed trended across platforms. Some fans wrote heartfelt tributes, saying they finally felt hope that justice might be near. Others demanded transparency, pushing for the suspects' motives and identities to be revealed publicly. In the middle of all this, one striking scene unfolded outside the station where the suspects were brought in. Dozens of fans gathered in the rain, holding candles and photographs of Yu Menglong. Their voices broke as they sang his most beloved OST, the sound carrying through the dark streets. It wasn't just mourning anymore, it was defiance, a plea for truth. And as the suspects were escorted inside, handcuffed and hidden under hoods, the fans' voices grew louder, refusing to be silenced. Inside the interrogation room, things took another dramatic twist. According to leaked reports, one of the suspects cracked under pressure within hours. Their words were fragmented, sometimes incoherent, but chilling nonetheless. They admitted to being present during the night in question. They admitted to confronting Yu Menglong. But when pressed on the reason why, they grew pale and refused to continue speaking. That silence alone has fueled even more speculation. Was it personal? Was it financial? Or was there a deeper, darker network pulling the strings? Some sources hint that the suspects weren't acting alone, that they were part of a larger plan orchestrated by individuals who still remain in the shadows. If that's true, then tonight's arrests are only the beginning of a much bigger storm. The entertainment world has been rocked to its core. Fellow actors who once worked closely with Yu Menglong are reeling from the news. Some have taken to social media with cryptic posts, single candle emojis, lines of poetry about justice, and broken heart symbols. Others, like Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhon, have chosen silence for now, their absence from the conversation only adding to the weight of the moment. But those who knew Yu Menglong personally understand that this case is no longer just about one man's tragic passing, it's about exposing the forces that lurk beneath the glittering surface of fame. Meanwhile, speculation is growing about what evidence investigators still have hidden. Reports suggest that Yu Menglong's phone, recovered at the scene, contained encrypted messages that have only recently been decoded. These messages, insiders claim, reveal communications with people tied directly to the suspects. If those messages are confirmed, they could blow the entire case wide open, linking the suspects not just to Yu Menglong's final moments but to a larger pattern of intimidation and manipulation in the industry. In one particularly shocking scene, described by a journalist who was allowed a brief glimpse into the evidence room, an object was displayed that could change everything, a personal belonging of Yu Menglong's, found in one suspect's possession. How they obtained it remains unclear, but its presence raises disturbing questions. Was it taken as a trophy, a cover-up, or a mistake that finally exposed them? The suspect's arrest has also drawn the attention of international media. Outlets from Korea, Japan, and even the United States have begun covering the story, pointing out the disturbing similarities between this case and other mysterious celebrity tragedies. Analysts are asking whether this is part of a larger systemic issue, one where fame and vulnerability collide in ways the public rarely sees. The ripple effects are undeniable. Streaming platforms have temporarily paused several of Yu Menglong's upcoming posthumous releases, fearing backlash or misinterpretation. At the same time, his fan base has only grown stronger, rallying together in his honor. Fan clubs from across Asia are planning synchronized tributes in his name, lighting candles and projecting his face on landmarks to remind the world that he will not be forgotten. As the suspects await trial, the tension continues to build. What secrets will spill in court? What alliances will crumble when the truth is exposed? And most importantly, what role did these two individuals truly play in the final hours of Yu Menglong's life? One thing is certain, this case is far from over. Tonight's arrests are not the end, but the beginning of a larger reckoning. The walls that once protected hidden truths are starting to crack, and with every revelation, the world edges closer to answers that have been buried for far too long. So, stay with me. Because in the coming days, more details will emerge, and when they do, you will want to know everything. The suspects may be behind bars, but the shadows surrounding this case are still moving. The story doesn't stop at the announcement. In fact, the night the arrests were made was as cinematic as any drama Yu Menglong himself once starred in. Imagine the scene, flashing red and blue lights painting the walls of a quiet street, investigators moving swiftly under the cover of darkness, and two figures pulled from the shadows into the blinding glare of cameras. That was the moment the public realized this case had taken a new, irreversible turn. According to multiple eyewitnesses, the arrests happened almost simultaneously in two different parts of the city. One suspect was cornered outside a high-end apartment complex. He tried to keep his hood pulled low, blending into the night, but the plainclothes officers had been watching for days. In a swift, almost theatrical move, they surrounded him, and within seconds, his wrists were bound. Witnesses described hearing him shout, "This isn't what you think," as he was pushed into an unmarked car. But the crowd that had gathered outside didn't buy his words. Some booed, others shouted Yu Menglong's name, and at least one fan threw a white flower onto the hood of the car as it sped away. The second suspect's arrest was even more dramatic. Authorities tracked him to an underground bar where music thumped and laughter filled the air. No one inside suspected that investigators were closing in until the doors burst open. What followed was chaos, glasses shattering, people screaming, and the suspect himself trying to push through the crowd. But he didn't make it far. Officers tackled him near the exit, and the scene froze, him pinned to the ground under the flashing lights of a dozen cell phones capturing every second. That footage went viral within minutes, spreading across social media like wildfire. Fans and netizens dissected every frame, from his defiant glare to the look of shock on the faces around him. The moment both suspects were brought into custody, the press wasted no time. Outside the police station, reporters stood shoulder to shoulder, their cameras ready to catch even the faintest glimpse. But what stunned everyone was the sheer silence of the suspects. No shouting, no pleas for innocence, just a cold, heavy silence that seemed to confirm what many feared, that these weren't just misunderstandings, but calculated actions. Inside the interrogation room, investigators pushed for answers. Though details remain tightly guarded, a leak from someone close to the case described the atmosphere as electric and terrifying. One suspect reportedly broke into a sweat the moment he was confronted with evidence, the surveillance footage showing his silhouette, the timestamps that aligned perfectly with Yu Menglong's final hours, and the item found in his possession that belonged to the late actor. His eyes darted to the floor, his lips trembled, and though he didn't confess outright, his silence screamed louder than words. The other suspect, however, was harder to break. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, and smirked at investigators. But when shown the decrypted messages pulled from Yu Menglong's phone, messages that connected him directly to that fateful night, his confidence cracked for a split second. That crack was enough to spark hope that the full truth might finally come out. Fans outside followed every rumor with bated breath. Some stood for hours holding signs that read, "Justice for Yu Menglong," while others streamed live, updating millions of viewers in real time. The energy was intense, emotional, and almost unbearable. One fan broke down in tears on camera, saying, "He gave us so much happiness, and they took him from us. We won't rest until the whole truth is told." That clip went viral overnight, becoming a symbol of the collective grief and anger shared across the globe. But what makes this even more mind-blowing is the whispered suggestion that these two suspects weren't working alone. Investigators believe there are others still out there, figures with more power, hidden in higher places, who may have orchestrated the entire tragedy. If that's true, then these arrests are only the beginning. The entertainment industry, shaken to its core, is watching closely. Some insiders have privately admitted that they're terrified of what may come next. Will more names be exposed? Will a dark web of secrets unravel? And if it does, how many careers, reputations, and empires will collapse along with it? For now, the suspects remain in custody, and the world waits for the trial. But the weight of their arrest has already left an imprint. The way they were caught, the silence they kept, the evidence that ties them to Yu Menglong's final night, it all paints a picture that is too clear to ignore. This is more than just a case. This is a turning point. And as we wait for the next wave of revelations, one truth stands tall: the fans, the media, and the people will not let this story fade away. So now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe the suspects acted alone, or are there more people behind the curtain pulling the strings? Do you think the silence of one suspect is guilt or a sign of fear for something bigger than himself? And what do you think those decrypted messages on Yu Menglong's phone will finally reveal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss this together, because your perspective matters in keeping this conversation alive. And before you go, make sure you like this video, share it with others who need to hear the truth, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss the next shocking update in this unfolding story. The Yu Menglong case is far from over, and together, we'll uncover every secret that still hides in the shadows.